we would like to invite Oliver Pawle, who's the chairman, board, and CEO of Services of Corn Ferry, to take the stand and give us a 5-minute reflections on social impact.
Good morning. Dzień dobry. Good. Another poll. I'm honored and privileged to be here for this conference, and I would just like to thank Consulas to Lawrence, my good friend Brian Grimm, and I want to congratulate them on the launch of the Common Growth Fund, and I will certainly try and help them in London to raise some money. Very quickly, let me introduce myself. I have an unusual background. I was born in Zambia. My father was in the British Foreign Service. My mother was a Polish refugee whose family were all shot by the Russians at the beginning of the Second World War. And I myself, after university, became an investment banker. I've worked in London, New York, and Singapore, and I now chair Corn Ferry's business in London. And my job is to recruit chairs, chief executives, and to support them and help them with leadership development. I'm a practicing Catholic, and my work for my Christian and Catholic charities has been deeply influenced by Pope John Paul II, a fellow Pole and a great hero of mine. And I always remember reading his wonderful book, Crossing the Threshold of Hope, which mirrors Cardinal Tagli's beautiful reflection on Christian hope. So how am I involved in business and faith? Well, together under the leadership of Brian Grimm and Adrian Bettridge, who is a managing partner of Baringa, I have been supporting them in helping to try and bring to the attention of boardrooms, to chairs and to CEOs, the importance of faith in the workplace. And it's very interesting because the research shows that globally, somewhere between 40 and 45% of employees have a strong faith. So many of them feel the need to hide their faith, to avoid discrimination. They feel uncomfortable about owning up to the fact that they're Christian or they're Muslim or they're Jewish or they're Hindus. Yet we all know that in order to flourish, employees want to bring their best, their authentic self to work. So something has gone radically wrong. The research also shows that where companies are faith-friendly, it creates and improves productivity, it drives better recruitment and retention, and it generates additional revenue. Just in the case of UBS, a great friend of mine runs their wealth management business for very significant billionaires and other major wealthy families. He was trying to put on a Christian philanthropy seminar and was blocked by his boss, who said, we don't do religion here. This is ridiculous, and was put back in his box. A year later, there was a new CEO at UBS who happened to be a practicing Catholic and said, that's nonsense, you go and put it on. He put on this seminar. It was attended by a lot of Christian philanthropists, and guess what? They all actually thought it was absolutely wonderful, and they poured more money into UBS. And suddenly they discovered that this was actually revenue generating. He was called up by all his colleagues around the world who said, many of them had told him that this was a ridiculous idea and were saying, please help us. We need to put on a conference for our Muslim clients and for our Christian clients. So it is important that the people understand that. So what are the blockers? And what can we do? Well, firstly, board directors and leaders often just don't recognize the importance of faith to their employees. And this is simply a question of awareness. We need to raise awareness levels and to educate them. And even when they do recognize it, I've discovered that quite a lot of board leaders are frightened to promote it for the fear that they may say the wrong thing. And we all know the sensitivities around saying the wrong thing of religious faiths. So what have we got to do? We've got to help them. And how do we help them? We actually have to teach them. So this is faith literacy. We have to basically educate leaders on the key tenets and culture and customs of the main faiths. And then thirdly and finally, we have to provide an external measure of how well the company is doing in supporting faith-friendly workplaces. And here we have the Ready Index and Brian Grimm, and it's a wonderful new innovation, and we moved it just recently to the UK. So in summary, workplaces are very important, not only to drive productivity, but to reinforce the importance of purpose-driven approach to business. They help to build interfaith dialogue, and they help to bring dignity to people's lives, in the sense that we all know that workplaces are the fabric of our communities. And what I certainly feel that they will give truth and depth to Catholic social teaching. And I mention Catholic social teaching because it was, I know, close to the heart of Pope Francis, and I sense it is also top of the agenda for Pope Leo in this age of technology and disinformation and uncertainty. And I want to finish really just finally with a quote, a proverb. And this is for all the people around here who feel that actually they're just one little cog and really they can't make a difference. It's too difficult, really. So there's a wonderful African proverb, which is, if you think you're too small to make a difference, you have not spent a night with a mosquito. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Oliver.